Softly now, let us drift into the echoes of forgotten times. Long before the noise of cities and machines, ancient people gathered beneath the stars, whispering stories of the divine. They looked to the moon, to the rivers, to the earth itself, and in those quiet places, they saw the faces of women who carried the power of life, death, and mystery. Tonight we walk through the soft corridors of history, where sacred cults rose around goddesses and divine women. Their temples were lit by oil lamps, their voices carried in chants, their symbols drawn into the sand. These are not stories of violence, but of reverence, of how humanity found comfort and awe in the sacred feminine. So let us close our eyes, breathe gently, and journey together through 3 hours of ancient cults and divine women. A lullaby from history to soothe your soul. If these stories bring you peace tonight, you are welcome to subscribe for more calming journeys. And if you wish, share in the comments where in the world you are listening from, so we may imagine our circle of souls resting under the same stars. The night is quiet now. The air feels soft, like a veil drawn over the earth. Above, the sky spreads wide, filled with gentle stars. Yet among them all, one light glows brighter, calmer, steadier, the silver face of the moon. In the lands of the 2 great rivers long ago, people lifted their eyes to this shining light. They believed the moon was not only a distant body, but a mother who watched over them. A mother who never closed her eyes. A mother who never abandoned her children. She was the moon's first mother. You may imagine her now, her silver hands reaching out across the sky. She stretches softly over the dark fields, touching the tops of date palms, brushing the waters of the rivers, and resting gently on the roofs of clay houses. Her light does not burn. It does not blind. It soothes, the way a mother's palm cools the forehead of a child. In the old world of Mesopotamia, people felt her presence everywhere. Farmers rose in the darkness before dawn, carrying baskets of seed. They saw the moon above and whispered thanks. Her glow helped them walk through furrows of soil. Mothers holding newborns turned their gaze toward her, believing the silver light would bless their children with health and peace. Travelers on dusty roads trusted her, for she showed the way when the torches grew dim. The moon's first mother was eternal. She never left, not truly. Even when the sun rose and her face faded, she was only resting, hidden, preparing to return. In this cycle of rising and vanishing, the people saw her devotion, like a mother stepping softly out of the room, yet always listening, always near. Beneath her glow, the temples of the ancient cities rose. Some were built high, with stairways climbing toward the sky as if to meet her more closely. Priests and priestesses carried bowls of oil, lit flames that flickered with her silver shine. In the stillness of those holy nights, chants rose like low tides, praising the Mother above. The voices were slow, rhythmic, like the beating of the heart. Imagine standing among them. The stone beneath your feet is cool. The air smells of oil, of earth, and of smoke rising in delicate lines. Around you, shadows dance on the walls as the flames sway, and above, through an opening in the roof, the moon stares down. Quiet, patient, alive. To the ancient mind, she was not only a body of light, she was also a keeper of time. Her cycle shaped the months. Her rhythm was the rhythm of planting, of harvest, of birth, and of mourning. Every curve of her shape meant something. A crescent meant beginnings like the cradle of a child. A full circle meant fullness, abundance, completion. Her waning meant rest, return, and endings that were not truly endings. The people saw their own lives reflected in her journey. They too were born, grew, shone bright, and then returned to darkness. But like her, they believed they would rise again. In her, they saw the promise of return, the comfort of cycles that never broke. Listen closely, and you can almost hear their prayers. Low voices murmuring in clay courtyards, calling the moon mother to bless the sick, to guide the lost, to comfort the grieving. The sound of water flowing in jars, the patter of sandals on stone, and above it all, the silent watch of the moon. Some said she carried a lamp of silver, a lantern for the night. Some said her robe was woven of mist, trailing across the desert. Others imagined her face as round as bread, nourishing the hungry spirit. Yet all agreed she was gentle, she was constant, she was the mother who did not sleep. You may picture her walking the sky slowly, her steps as light as drifting clouds. With each step, she scatters peace, like seeds into the night. Her eyes are patient, her breath is cool, her embrace wide as the heavens. In stories passed along firesides, people told how she protected children from spirits of the dark. They believed her gaze could quiet storms. Her silver touch was said to calm the cries of the newborn and ease the fears of the dying. She was both the beginning and the end. Even the rivers seemed to shimmer with her blessing. When her reflection spread across the water, it looked like a path of light, leading into the unknown. To many, this was the road of the soul. When a person passed away, it was said their spirit walked across that shining path, guided by the mother's glow, never alone in the dark. Close your eyes and imagine the scene. A traveler walks at night through wide plains. His feet are weary, his pack heavy, yet ahead the moon hangs like a lantern, painting his road in silver. He feels her gaze, and though he is far from home, he knows he is not abandoned. Her light becomes a companion, a quiet song inside his heart. So too the farmers saw her as a friend. Their seeds buried in earth seemed to sleep in darkness. But when the moon shone down, it was as though she whispered to them, "Grow, little one, rise toward the light." And the seeds obeyed, breaking the soil, reaching upward, as children reach toward a mother's arms. The moon's first mother was not worshipped in fear. She was not a goddess of rage or punishment. She was the calm presence of care. To her the people turned their faces with trust, like children looking up to a parent. Her temple was not only in the stones of the ziggurats, but in every open sky, in every pool of water that held her reflection, in every cradle where a child slept under her watch. Time has passed. Cities have fallen into dust. Rivers have changed their course. Yet the moon still rises. She still looks down with the same steady gaze. And somewhere deep within, humanity still feels her presence. Even now, a farmer looks up at her in the fields. A mother rocks her child by her light. A traveler finds the road because she shines above. She is still there. She has never left. The night grows deeper now. Her silver path stretches across the dark like a river in the heavens. It invites you to rest, to drift, to dream. For in her glow, there is safety. In her gaze, there is peace. Let the moon's first mother wrap you now in her calm veil. Let her silver hands smooth the air around you. The stars keep their quiet watch, but it is her light that holds you. She will not sleep, even as you do. And so, let go.
Breathe softly.
Drift as the rivers drift. Rest as the mother of the moon looks on. She is here. She is always here. And now, you may close your eyes and follow her light into the quiet of dreams. The night is wide, and the desert lies in silence. The sands are pale under the moon, stretching far like an ocean of stone and dust. A soft wind moves across the dunes, shaping gentle waves in the earth. In the stillness, the air carries the faint sound of voices, rising and falling like distant breaths. These are the songs of the desert priestesses, women who stood among the shifting sands, lifting their hands toward the sky, calling upon the unseen powers that guided water, harvest, and birth. Their voices were not loud. They were steady, like the rhythm of a drum hidden beneath the earth. You may imagine them now, robed in linen, faces lit by firelight, their shadows bending across the sand. Around them, small circles of flame glowed against the dark. Clay vessels of water shimmered beside the fires, reflecting both the stars and the women's faces. Their chants floated upward, rising with the sparks, melting into the endless desert night. The desert was harsh, yet sacred. Every grain of sand held memory. The priestesses knew the secret paths through dunes, the places where hidden springs whispered beneath the soil. They were keepers of both body and spirit. They taught mothers how to ease birth with herbs and prayer. They blessed the jars of water drawn from deep wells. They sang to the fields before seeds were sown so the land would open gently and give life. Their songs were not only words. They were woven with breath, with rhythm, with silence between each line. The wind carried their voices far, bending them into the ears of travelers resting by their camels, into the tents of families who whispered along. It was said that when the desert priestesses sang, even the stars leaned closer. The moon would seem brighter. The air itself would soften, like a mother laying her hand over a restless child. Picture the scene. A circle of women, veils shimmering in silver light, moving slowly around a fire. Their steps are measured. Their feet press into the cool sand. Their arms rise and fall in gestures as old as memory. And above them, the desert sky spreads infinite, jeweled with countless stars. The people trusted these women, for they held the mysteries of survival. In a place where rain was rare, every drop of water was sacred. The priestesses poured libations into the ground, whispering prayers that the hidden waters below would rise and bless the wells. They sang to the rivers, asking them not to fail. Their rituals were not seen as demands, but as conversations, gentle requests to the unseen guardians of nature. They also carried the mysteries of birth. When the cries of a woman in labor filled the air, priestesses gathered with lamps and chants. They placed their hands upon her, anointed her brow with oil, and sang of strength and release. Their voices became bridges, carrying both mother and child into safety. To them, each new life was a star brought down from the sky, planted in human form. In the hush of evening, when work was done and fires burned low, the priestesses often sat among the people. They told stories of the great mothers who had walked before them. They spoke of Inanna, goddess of love and war, whose strength rose like the morning star. They told of the moon mothers, who kept eternal watch. Their stories did not demand belief. They were soft rivers of memory, reminding everyone that life itself was a sacred circle. Travelers carried these stories across dunes. Caravan paths stretched like threads of silk, linking desert towns with distant lands. And along those paths, the priestesses' voices traveled too. Their blessings spread beyond their own tribes, whispering into the ears of strangers who paused to rest by their fires. The desert was a teacher of silence. In the stillness between the dunes, the priestesses listened. They believed the winds carried messages, that the flight of birds revealed omens, that the stars themselves were holy books written in light. Their eyes lifted often to the sky, tracing patterns in the constellations. For them, the heavens were not distant. They were alive, speaking, guiding, comforting. At times of drought, when the earth cracked and rivers faded, the priestesses gathered the people for great night ceremonies. Torches lined the dunes. Circles of dancers swayed slowly, feet pressing into sand. Drums throbbed like the heartbeat of the earth. The priestesses raised their voices higher, asking the hidden wells to open, the sky to release its water. And though not every prayer was answered, the ceremonies gave strength. They reminded the people that even in the hardest of seasons, they were not forgotten. Imagine lying upon the sand at such a gathering. The sky above is endless, a dark sea strewn with jewels. Around you the fire glows red and gold, warming your skin. The air smells of smoke and herbs, the faint sweetness of date wine, the coolness of desert night. And around you, the voices of the priestesses rise and fall, surrounding you like waves, until you drift into peace. Some said these women were not only servants of the gods, but guardians of memory. They held the line between the past and the present. They remembered the names of ancestors long gone. They told of the first wells dug by human hands, the first seeds planted in desert soil. In their voices, the people heard continuity, proof that they were part of something greater, something unbroken. Even now, when deserts stretch empty, one may still feel their presence. The winds whisper with hidden tones. The stars glimmer with quiet secrets. The sands shift in patterns like forgotten songs. Their temples may have fallen, their fires long extinguished, but the memory of their chants lingers in the silence. Rest now with that thought. The desert priestesses, standing tall among the sands, hands lifted to the moon, voices weaving threads between earth and sky. Their care was endless, their songs unbroken. They blessed the waters. They blessed the births. They blessed the harvest that fed hungry mouths. And tonight, as you lie beneath your own sky, you too are touched by that same eternal rhythm. The desert winds still move. The stars still watch. The moon still pours her silver across the dark. Let yourself feel it. The safety, the continuity, the quiet blessing. As the priestesses once soothed their people, so too may their memory soothe you. The sand settles. The fire burns low. The songs drift into silence. Now rest, as the stars return to their places and the desert keeps its watch through the night. The river lies still beneath the stars. Its wide body reflects the sky, carrying silver light across its surface like a ribbon of glass. The air is warm, touched with the scent of lotus blossoms, touched with the hum of night creatures hidden among reeds. From the east, the moon rises slowly, pouring her glow across the ancient land of Egypt. Here, on the banks of the Nile, people have gathered for thousands of years. They bow their heads, they light small lamps, they whisper prayers into the water. Their words drift upward, carried by the night wind, offered to one who has always listened. To Isis, the gentle mother, the healer, the eternal queen, Isis was more than a goddess. She was the spirit of protection, the mother of magic, the one who knew the secrets of healing. In her, people found comfort. In her, they found safety. They said she could soothe the sick, guide the lost, and open the door between life and death with her wisdom. Picture her now, a woman of serene beauty, wearing a throne-shaped crown upon her head, symbol of her queenship. Her robe is woven of night softness, her hands glowing with gentle light. At her breast, she carries the infant Horus, the child who would one day become king. Yet she is not only mother to him, she is mother to all, the one who embraces every soul with care. Her story begins in the time when gods walked close to earth. She was sister and wife to Osiris, the green-skinned lord of life and renewal. Together they ruled with harmony, bringing abundance to the land. But shadows moved among the divine. Set, the god of storms and chaos, struck Osiris down, scattering his body across the land. Yet Isis did not despair. With patience and devotion, she searched for the pieces of her beloved. She traveled the length of the Nile, through papyrus marshes, across wide deserts, into sacred groves. Wherever she went, she was guided by love and by magic. One by one, she gathered the broken pieces, wrapping them with care, whispering sacred words over each fragment. In the stillness of night, she called upon her deep magic. Her breath touched Osiris. Her voice sang life into silence. And though he could not return fully to the world of the living, she brought him back enough to conceive their son, Horus. From this act, the cycle of death and rebirth was shown. From her devotion, the people of Egypt learned that love was stronger than destruction. Isis raised Horus with care, hiding him in the marshes, protecting him from Set's wrath. She called upon serpents to guard him, upon waters to conceal him, upon stars to guide him. Each lullaby she sang to her child became a prayer for all mothers. Each protection she wove around him became a blessing for every family who whispered her name. For the people, Isis was more than a figure in myth. She was present in their daily lives. Mothers prayed to her during childbirth. Sailors asked her to calm the waters. Farmers poured the first drops of their harvest wine in her honor. Temples rose in her name, filled with incense smoke, lined with tall columns painted in colors of earth and sky. Priests chanted her hymns, while simple villagers lit small candles at home, whispering her titles in gratitude. Her worship spread far beyond Egypt. Across the Mediterranean world, her name was carried in trade and travel. In Rome, in Greece, in distant lands, people called upon Isis as a universal mother. Statues of her were placed in temples, sometimes showing her nursing Horus, sometimes with a starry veil flowing across her body. Her cult became one of the most beloved of the ancient world, offering comfort to sailors, farmers, merchants, kings, and slaves alike. Her powers were many, but her heart was always gentle. She was known as the healer of the sick. Ancient texts tell of her curing poison, soothing wounds, whispering life back into failing lungs. She was also known as the mistress of words. Her spells were soft but strong, woven like threads of silk into the fabric of the world. People believed that even a whisper of her name could bring safety in moments of fear. In her, the Egyptians saw the image of eternal devotion. She was the wife who did not abandon her beloved. She was the mother who guarded her child with endless care. She was the queen who gave her strength to her people. She was the magician whose power came not from cruelty, but from love. Imagine now a quiet temple to Isis by the river's edge. The pillars rise high, painted in deep blues and golds. The air inside is cool, filled with the scent of incense, the sound of water dripping gently into stone basins. At the heart of the temple, a statue of the goddess sits, carved with calm grace. A lamp burns before her, its flame small but steady, like the love she offers. A woman enters, carrying her child in her arms. She kneels before the statue, places the child upon her lap, and whispers a prayer. The child stirs, but does not cry. The mother's heart grows calm, for she feels that Isis has heard her. She leaves the temple with lighter steps, the child safe in her embrace. Now imagine a sailor at sea. The waters grow restless, the winds harsh. He lifts his face to the sky and calls upon Isis. The waves still, the stars reappear, and in the quiet of his heart, he knows she is guiding him home. So many voices across so many centuries whispered to her. In their whispers, she became eternal. Even when the temples fell into ruin, even when the sands covered the stones, her name did not fade. For love once given does not disappear. It lingers, like the glow of moonlight across the river. Isis remains a symbol of magic born of compassion. Her story teaches that even when all seems broken, care can restore what is lost. Even when shadows rise, devotion brings light. Even when the world scatters into pieces, love can gather it together again. As you rest tonight, think of her presence. The gentle mother, her hands open in blessing, her eyes filled with calm. She walks with quiet steps, carrying the fragrance of lilies, carrying the stillness of the river at dawn. She is close as breath, as close as the soft beating of the heart. Let her story cradle you. Let her magic ease you. Like Horus, guarded in the marshes, you too are watched over. Like the sailor carried through the storm, you too are guided. Like the mother who prayed in the temple, you too are comforted. The night deepens. The Nile flows onward, silver under the stars. The reeds bend with the breeze. The fires burn low in the villages. The people sleep, safe beneath her care. Rest now as Isis rests beside you. Her voice is soft, her embrace wide, her magic eternal. Let us drift onward, into the quiet, into the calm, as the Mother of Magic watches through the night. The sea is calm tonight. The Aegean stretches wide beneath a soft moon, its surface glowing like a field of silver scales. The waves move slowly, breathing against the shore in long, gentle sighs. Along the coast, ancient stones rise like sleeping giants. Broken columns, worn smooth by centuries of salt and wind, stand as the quiet bones of once great temples. A soft breeze drifts over the land, carrying the fragrance of olive groves, the sweetness of figs, the faint echo of distant flutes. Somewhere inland, torchlight flickers along a hidden path. Pilgrims once walked there, their steps hushed, their hearts steady. They were moving toward the sacred mysteries, toward the story that lived in the soil itself, the story of Demeter and Persephone. Demeter was the goddess of the earth's abundance. She brought wheat to the fields, fruits to the branches, milk to the animals. With her care, the land was green, the people fed, the villages alive. Yet her story is bound to her daughter, Persephone, the maiden of spring, bright as blossoms, gentle as new grass. One day, as Persephone wandered through meadows heavy with flowers, the earth opened beneath her feet. From the shadows rose Hades, lord of the underworld. He carried her below, into the realm of the dead, leaving the meadow empty, the flowers wilting where her hands had touched. When Demeter searched for her child, she found only silence. Her grief was endless. She wandered the earth in sorrow, and as she wandered, the fields grew barren. The wheat would not rise, the orchards would not bear fruit, the rivers slowed in their courses. All life felt her sorrow, for when the mother grieved, the earth itself grieved. But Zeus, seeing the suffering of mortals, sent word that Persephone could return. Yet because she had eaten the seeds of the pomegranate in the underworld, she could not stay away forever. A bargain was woven. Part of the year she would live with her mother, and the world would bloom. Part of the year she would return to Hades, and the earth would rest in shadow. This cycle became the heartbeat of the land. When Persephone rose, spring awoke, summer flourished, and all was green. When she descended, autumn fell quiet. Winter arrived, and the fields slept. The people saw in this story the rhythm of life and death, of sorrow and renewal. They called it the mystery, the truth too deep for words, carried only through ritual, through silence, through prayer. Along the Aegean coast in the city of Eleusis, great temples rose to honor Demeter and Persephone. Pilgrims came from every corner of Greece. They gathered by torchlight, their footsteps echoing against marble, their hearts bound by reverence. They entered the hall of initiation, a chamber vast and dark, where shadows wrapped around them like a cloak. Inside, the story of mother and daughter was retold not with words, but with symbols. A kernel of grain placed in the hand, a torch lifted high, a cup of sacred drink, the sound of drums, low and steady, like the pulse of the earth itself. The mysteries were never spoken aloud, for their power lay not in telling, but in feeling. The pilgrims emerged changed, carrying within them the quiet knowing that death was not the end, but part of a cycle. Like Persephone, the soul would return, rising again into light. Picture the temple at night. The columns stand tall against the starlit sky, white marble glowing in the moonlight. The floor is cool beneath bare feet. polished smooth by countless generations. Incense drifts upward, slow and curling, carrying prayers into the darkness. From outside, the faint sound of the sea can be heard, as though even the waves are part of the ritual, whispering, whispering, here. Demeter is remembered not only as a goddess of the harvest, but as a mother who mourned and who healed. Persephone is remembered not only as a maiden lost, but as a queen who moves between worlds. Together they teach that sorrow can transform, that loss can lead to renewal, that the seed buried in darkness will rise again to the sun. The people believed that those who walked the path of the mysteries would never fear death in the same way. They would carry with them a gentle peace, a trust in the cycle. Just as the earth rests and awakens, so too does the soul. Just as the seasons return, so too does life in its many forms. Imagine a pilgrim leaving the temple, the stars shining bright above. His heart is quiet. His steps are slow. He does not speak of what he has seen, for the mysteries cannot be told. But in his chest he carries a new calm, like a lantern burning softly in the night. He will return to his village, to his fields, to his family, and in every seed he plants he will see Persephone's journey. In every harvest he will feel Demeter's blessing. In every winter he will know that spring waits close behind. The story spreads like ripples through water. Mothers tell it to their children as they drift to sleep. Farmers whisper it as they place seed into the ground. Sailors speak it when they set sail into unknown waters, reminding themselves that all journeys lead back to light. And so the temples by the Aegean became more than places of stone. They became places of memory, places where silence itself was holy, where the earth and the soul spoke the same language. Even now, though the columns lie broken and the halls are empty, the story remains. The stones remember. The sea remembers. The night remembers. Demeter, the mother, still walks among the fields. Persephone, the maiden, still rises with the spring. Their presence lingers in every seed that bursts through the soil, in every flower that blooms after frost, in every sorrow that softens into peace. Let the story rest with you now. Feel the slow rhythm of the seasons, the gentle turning of earth. Feel the way grief can soften, the way darkness can cradle light, the way endings fold into beginnings. The night grows deeper. The sea continues its endless song. The torches of Eleusis burn low in memory, their smoke curling into the stars. The earth breathes quietly, waiting, always waiting for the return of spring. Rest as the mysteries rest. Rest as the seeds rest in the soil. Rest as Persephone rests in shadow, soon to rise again. Let us drift onward, beyond the Aegean, beyond the temples, into the calm embrace of night. The night is still. The stars hang gently above, each one a tiny lantern floating in the sky's deep fabric. The air is cool, tender against the skin, and the soft scent of smoke rises from the hearths of sleeping villages. It drifts upward, mingling with the night wind, carrying with it prayers, whispers, and the warmth of quiet homes. In the hush of ancient Greece, before temples rose to the sky, before marble columns gleamed in the sun, there was a smaller flame that mattered most, a flame that did not blaze in grandeur, but glowed softly in the center of every dwelling. This was the flame of Hestia, the quiet goddess. She did not rule storms like Zeus. She did not ride the seas like Poseidon. She did not strike with arrows or thunder or war. Instead, she rested in silence, her gift both simple and eternal. She was the fire of the hearth, the keeper of warmth, the presence that made a house a home. Her veil was soft, her voice unspoken, her steps unseen. Yet in every place where bread baked, where mothers sang to their children, where friends gathered in the glow of firelight, she was there. In every flicker of flame she watched with gentle care. Picture an ancient home. The walls are of stone, rough but steady. The night outside is dark and vast, but inside, in the center, a flame dances. Its light bends across the room, painting the walls with gold. Shadows sway, as though moving with the rhythm of a secret song. The family gathers near. They speak softly. They eat, they rest, they laugh in whispers. They trust the flame because it is alive, because it holds both warmth and memory. That flame is Hestia's gift, her blessing, her silent watch. Every city also kept her fire. In the heart of each polis, a sacred hearth was lit, and it was never allowed to die. From this eternal flame, new fires were carried to every home, so that no place was without her spirit. Travelers who founded new lands took a spark from Hestia's fire with them, so that even in distant soil, the bond of home was never broken. Though she did not seek glory, Her place was first among the gods. When sacrifices were made, the first portion was always hers. When prayers were spoken, her name was whispered before all others. She sat at the very center of the divine circle, her presence quiet, steady, eternal. The poets said her throne was low and plain, without jewels, without splendor. Yet around her all was at peace. For what need is there for thunder when warmth is enough? What need is there for spectacle when the glow of fire is already the heart's comfort? Imagine the hearth flame again. Watch it slowly. It bends and bows. It flickers with a soft rhythm, like the breath of a child asleep. It is not loud. It is not forceful. Yet it endures hour after hour, night after night. In that endurance lies its holiness. It does not seek to be seen. It simply gives endlessly. The people honored Hestia in their own quiet ways. A cup of wine poured into the fire, a small loaf of bread set before the flame, a whispered prayer before sleep. They did not build vast armies in her name, nor carve towering statues. Instead, they tended their hearths. They cared for the flame, as one cares for a guest, as one cares for the most fragile, most vital gift. To the wanderer returning after months at sea, the glow of the hearth was more than warmth. It was safety. It was welcome. It was home. To the mother, rocking her child in the hush of midnight, the hearth was more than light. It was protection. To the elder, telling stories to the young, the hearth was more than fire. It was memory, passed from one breath to another. Hestia was never absent, though she never announced herself. She was the veil of stillness in every room, the silence that allowed voices to rise in peace. She was the comfort behind comfort, the root beneath the tree, the flame behind the flame. Even when temples were built for other gods, she remained at the center. No ritual could begin without her. No prayer could end without her. Always the circle returned to Hestia. Always. The first and last belonged to her. Her silence was her strength. In a world of thunder and tempest, her quiet flame endured. In a world of strife and change, her hearth remained steady. Through her, the people learned that not all power is loud. Not all divinity demands the sky. Some is found in the smallest ember, glowing, glowing, never ceasing. Think now of your own inner hearth, the soft center of warmth within, steady, unshaken, glowing even in the coldest night. Like Hestia's flame, it asks for little, only care, only gentleness. In return, it gives safety. It gives belonging. It gives peace. The ancients believed that to honor Hestia was to honor the bonds of family, of friendship, of community. To keep her flame was to promise safety to those who entered. No guest was ever turned away from the hearth. For where Hestia was honored, no stranger was left unwelcome, no soul left without warmth, and so her flame lived on, carried not by kings, but by mothers and fathers, by children and elders, by every hand that tended the fire, by every heart that whispered gratitude for warmth. Even now, though her temples have crumbled, though her name is rarely spoken, the hearth continues, the flame continues. Every candle lit in the night carries her memory. Every home that feels safe carries her gift. Every soft silence, every gentle glow, every quiet meal shared in peace, all are hers. Let the flame rest with you tonight. Feel it flicker gently in the dark. Feel the warmth spread softly across your chest, across your breath, across your dreams. It does not rush. It does not fade. It glows endlessly, quietly, tenderly. Hestia's veil is silent, but it surrounds you still. In her stillness there is no fear. In her quiet there is no end. Only warmth, only safety, only rest. Now let the fire dim within your mind. Let the embers soften to a deep red glow. Let them drift into ash, quiet and eternal. For even when unseen, the flame of Hestia never dies. Rest as the hearth rests. Rest as the flame rests, glowing in the silence. Rest in the quiet veil of Hestia. Let us drift onward, past the hearths, past the villages, into the deeper night where the stars return. The night spreads wide. A velvet sky, deep and endless, hangs above the ancient plains of Babylon. The rivers below, the Tigris and the Euphrates, move like long ribbons of silver, winding through the desert earth. And above them, stars bloom like seeds scattered across a dark field. They shine in quiet patience, each one holding a secret, each one carrying a story. Long ago, people would step outside their homes when the air cooled, when the fires dimmed, and their eyes would drift upward. There in the sky they found comfort. The stars seemed close, as though divine hands had placed them carefully, gently, in patterns to be remembered forever. In Babylon, the stars were not silent. They were voices. They were guides. They were mothers watching over the earth. Each constellation was a presence, a story, a goddess who carried the people's prayers in her arms of light. The priests of the ziggurats, those great step temples rising above the city, studied the skies with reverence. They believed the heavens were alive, woven with the power of goddesses and gods. But for the common people, looking up at the night, it was simpler. They saw mothers above them, mothers of stars, gentle women of light who did not abandon them, who held the patterns of the sky like an embrace stretched across eternity. Picture the ziggurat under moonlight. Its steps rise tier upon tier, each level smaller, climbing toward the heavens. At the top, a small shrine glows with oil lamps, their flames trembling in the wind. From here, the priests watch the night. But the people below? They simply tilt their heads back, and the sky's enough. They whisper the names of the constellations. They see the divine in the stars themselves. One goddess was Ishtar, bright and radiant, her star glowing as Venus in the dawn and dusk. She was a mother of love and of war, but above all, she was light. People believed her star never failed to return, never failed to shine, a sign that even after the deepest night, the goddess kept watch. Another was Namu, the ancient mother of the sea, imagined as the deep waters of creation. Though the sea lay far from the desert, she was present in the stars. She was the endless dark behind the shining lights, the womb of the heavens, holding all within her. Looking at the night sky, people felt her vast embrace, silent, steady, surrounding all. And still others saw Ninlil, wife of the air god, moving as a soft breath between the stars. Her spirit was the wind that rustled reeds along the rivers, the breeze that cooled the face after long heat, the unseen thread between earth and sky. The constellations were more than marks of direction. They were more than calendars. They were guardians. Each one was a mother figure, holding farmers through the seasons, guiding travelers across desert paths, watching children fall asleep under open roofs. Imagine a Babylonian child lying on a woven mat, eyes heavy with sleep. She listens to her mother's voice, telling her that the stars above are not distant, but alive, that the star mothers keep her safe, that they pour down blessings like drops of water from the heavens. The child drifts into slumber, trusting the stars, trusting the gentle hands of the divine above. The Babylonians believed that life and sky were woven together. Every birth, every harvest, every rain was marked by the heavens. When a new star appeared, it was a sign that a divine woman had stretched out her hand. When stars faded, it meant a goddess was resting. Life mirrored the heavens. The heavens mirrored life. The great star maps carved into clay tablets told these stories, not as cold records but as living songs. The tablets held constellations shaped like lions, bulls, and scorpions, each linked to myths. Yet behind each animal symbol, the people still felt the touch of the mothers, the divine women who gave meaning to those forms. For the Babylonians, the sky was not empty space. It was a great tapestry, a woven cloth stretched across infinity. And like all cloth, it was made by a weaver. That weaver was often imagined as female, a mother at her loom, spinning threads of light into patterns of stars, crafting destiny with patience and care. The people saw their own lives reflected in this weaving. Birth and death were threads. Joy and sorrow were patterns. Every person was a stitch in the larger cloth of the universe, and the motherly hands of the star goddesses wove them gently, never letting the fabric fall apart. At night, when the city quieted, the sound of reed flutes sometimes rose into the air. Their soft notes mingled with the hum of insects, with the rustle of palm trees, with the distant bark of dogs. And above it all, the stars shimmered. The star mothers listened. They held the city in their gaze, patient and kind. Travelers who crossed the deserts often told of following the stars. The mothers of the heavens guided their steps. The constellations became both compass and comfort, teaching that no one was ever truly lost, for the sky itself held watch. Even kings in their palaces feared losing the favor of the stars. They prayed to the divine women above, offering incense, wine, and song. They knew that no crown was secure without the blessing of the heavens, and so the mothers of the sky were honored in every level of life, from the humblest hut to the grandest throne. The stars were also seen as seeds of memory. Each one carried the story of those who had passed. When a loved one died, some believed their spirit rose to the heavens, shining as a star, joining the eternal mothers in their watch. To look at the night sky was to look at the great gathering of all who came before, cared for by divine hands. Think now of the stars above you. Imagine them as mothers of light, watching with soft, endless patience. Their glow is steady, not rushed. Their presence is quiet, not loud. They ask for nothing but to be seen, to be trusted, to be remembered. In Babylon, the people felt this too. They believed that by gazing upward, by remembering the mothers of the sky, their own hearts would be steadied. The fears of the day would ease. The weight of sorrow would lighten. For above them was not emptiness, but care. Above them was not darkness, but a gentle, eternal glow. Let the image of the star mothers rest within you. See their hands holding the constellations, guiding them across the heavens. See their faces hidden in the shimmer of night, watching with love that does not end. Now the city of Babylon sleeps again. Its streets are quiet. Its ziggurats stand like stairways into the heavens. The rivers drift onward, glimmering faintly in the moonlight, and above the stars remain, patient and kind. The mothers of the sky do not rest, for their watch never ends. Let yourself drift with them. Float into the quiet sky. Rest in their woven tapestry of light. You are held, you are safe, you are remembered in the gentle hands of the mothers above. Now rest as the stars return. Now rest as the mothers of Babylon keep their silent watch. Let us drift onward, into deeper night, into softer dreams, guided by the hands of the heavens. Mist gathers low upon the waters. It drifts like breath, soft and white, veiling the horizon where earth and sky meet. The lake lies still, its surface smooth as polished glass, reflecting faint stars above. In the distance, hidden beyond the veil of fog, rests an island that does not appear to all eyes. Some see only water and haze. Yet for those called, the mist parts, and Avalon is revealed. Here the air holds a sweetness, heavy with the scent of apple blossoms. The trees bend gently in the breeze, their branches crowned with fruit that glows faintly in twilight. Streams flow clear and cool across mossy stones, and at the heart of the sacred place, voices rise. They are low, steady, woven with the sound of flowing water. The voices belong to the priestesses of Avalon. Legends say they were keepers of old knowledge, women who carried the secrets of healing, the whispers of plants, the rhythms of the stars, the silence of the moon. They were not queens of battle or rulers of land. They were guardians of balance, standing quietly between the seen and the unseen. When people came to Avalon, it was not for gold, nor for crowns. They came in search of peace. They came seeking mending for the spirit and the body. They came to be washed clean by the gentle wisdom of the island's daughters. The priestesses lived with the cycles of nature. When dawn lit the sky, they gathered by the rivers, their white garments brushing the grass wet with dew. They dipped their hands into the flowing water, offering prayers for clarity. The rivers were teachers, reminding them that life is always moving, always finding its way, always soft enough to bend, strong enough to carve stone. At night, when the mist grew thicker, they lit torches that glowed like stars upon the earth. Their songs moved through the fog, guiding travelers across the lake. The songs were not loud, not fierce, but gentle, notes that seemed to rise from the water itself. To hear them was to feel held, as though the island itself reached out to steady the soul. The apple orchards of Avalon were sacred. Each tree was believed to hold memory, to carry the breath of ancestors in its roots. The priestesses would walk among them slowly, laying hands upon their trunks, listening for the quiet hum of wisdom that lived within. The fruit was not only food, but a symbol of wholeness, round, complete, filled with sweetness. To share an apple was to share healing. Legends tell that the priestesses were bound to the Lady of the Lake, the spirit who dwelt in Avalon's waters. She was the soul of the island, unseen but ever present. Her presence was felt in the cool touch of mist, in the silver ripple of water, in the stillness before dawn. To serve her was to serve balance, and so the priestesses lived not for themselves, but as vessels of her quiet grace. Imagine standing on that island now. Mist curls around your feet, cool and damp. You hear the trickle of a brook nearby, its sound like soft laughter. You smell the apples on the wind, sweet and calming. And in the distance, you hear the low song of the priestesses, weaving through the fog like a thread of light. They tended not only to the land, but to the hearts of those who arrived weary. They offered herbs to ease pain, words to calm the troubled, songs to lift the heavy soul. They believed that every wound had its mirror in nature. For sorrow, there was lavender to soothe. For weariness, rosemary to awaken. For grief, the apple, to remind one of sweetness still present in life. Healing was never forced. It was a gentle unfolding, like a flower opening in sunlight. The priestesses also guarded mysteries. They knew the names of stars and how their light touched the tides. They read the seasons not as numbers on a calendar, but as voices of the earth. They held ceremonies in the moonlight, circling in silence, listening for what the sky wished to say. To outsiders, this knowledge was called magic. To the priestesses, it was simply listening. Listening to the rivers, to the roots, to the breath of the wind. Listening to the spaces between words. In that silence, they found the song of the world. There were times when kings and warriors sought Avalon, desiring the priestess's wisdom. Some came with pride, hoping to claim power. But the island did not reveal itself to every eye. Only those who came with humility, with a heart open to stillness, could pass through the mist. For Avalon was not a place to be conquered. It was a place to be received. Think of the mist again. How it hides, how it softens, how it holds. Avalon's veil was not to keep people out, but to teach them patience. The priestesses knew that what is hidden often holds the deepest truth. What is quiet often carries the greatest strength. In their care, the island bloomed. Streams stayed clear, orchards heavy with fruit, fields rich with herbs. It was said that no sickness could take root there, for the harmony of Avalon was stronger than any shadow. Those who walked its soil left lighter, gentler, renewed. Yet Avalon was not simply a place of healing. It was a bridge. The priestesses taught that between the seen world and the unseen, there is no hard line. There is only mist, only soft veils that shift with the breath. In dreams, in silence, in the moment before waking, that veil grows thin, and one may glimpse the eternal. They called this the crossing, a step not of feet but of spirit. To walk into Avalon's mist was to step toward that threshold, not to escape the world, but to remember the deeper river flowing beneath all things. So the priestesses tended to the crossing. They guided souls, not with command, but with presence. They stood as gentle companions at the edge of the mist, reminding all who came that nothing is ever lost. All things flow onward. All rivers find the sea. Now picture their circle beneath the full moon. White garments shimmer. Mist curls at their ankles. Torches glow in steady rhythm. Their voices rise together, soft as wind over grass. The song is not for show. It is not meant to dazzle. It is a lullaby for the world itself, sung so that the earth may rest, the waters may rest, the hearts of people may rest. In that song, you may hear echoes of rivers. You may hear the hush of trees. You may hear the slow, steady heartbeat of the earth. And you may feel yourself drifting, as if the song carries you, rocking you gently across unseen waters. The legends say Avalon drifts beyond time. Some believe it still waits, hidden by mist, waiting for those who can see with quiet eyes. Others believe it has faded into dream, into memory, into the space where myth and rest are the same. Yet whether seen or unseen, its spirit lingers. The priestesses' voices remain, blending with rivers, with winds, with silence. And so, as night deepens, let the veil of Avalon drift around you. Let the mist soften the edges of thought. Let the song of the priestesses rise faintly in your mind, steady as a heartbeat, calm as flowing water. You are safe in this island of dream. You are held in its orchard of memory, its rivers of healing, its circle of gentle women who guard the balance of night and day. Now rest as the mists close softly. Now rest as Avalon drifts beyond the horizon. Let us drift onward, into deeper quiet, into softer night, carried by the voices of the priestesses, into the calm where dreams are born. Night folds softly across the hills of Europe. The air is cool, carrying the scent of pine and damp stone. Bells in far monasteries ring faintly, their tones fading into the valleys. Candles flicker in chapels, their glow falling across worn statues, polished by the touch of countless hands. Among these chapels, hidden in villages, on mountainsides, and in great cathedrals, rests a figure both familiar and mysterious. She is called the Black Madonna. Her face is dark, her eyes deep, her presence quiet but strong. Pilgrims have walked for centuries to stand before her, to rest in the calm of her gaze. Her image appears in many places. Sometimes she cradles a child, the holy infant held close to her heart. Sometimes she stands alone, robed in carved folds of wood or stone, watching with a gaze that seems to hold both the sorrow and the mercy of the world. Always she is dark, her face carrying the mystery of earth, of soil, of night. For those who came weary, her presence was like shade in summer, like cool water in thirst. They knelt, they lit candles, they whispered prayers, not always in words, but in longing, and in her silence, they felt heard. Legends swirl around the Black Madonna. Some say her color comes from smoke of candles burning for centuries. Others believe she was carved so to show the sacred beauty of earth itself. To many, her darkness is a sign of mystery, of the hidden, the eternal, the depths of compassion no words can measure. Imagine a traveler long ago. He has walked many miles, his sandals worn, his cloak heavy with dust. His back aches, his spirit is tired. Yet as he enters the dim chapel, his eyes adjust to the glow of candles. And there she is, the Madonna with her dark face. He feels her gaze rest upon him, not judging, not demanding, only holding. His shoulders loosen, his breath slows. In her presence, he feels safe. The Black Madonna was often found where earth itself spoke with power. Springs bubbled nearby, their waters clear and cold, thought to heal the weary. Mountains rose around her shrines, their peaks touching the clouds. Groves of ancient trees whispered in the winds near her chapels. She was not placed in empty halls alone. She was rooted in the living land. Her shrines became places where earth and spirit touched. Pilgrims came from far lands. Some carried burdens of grief. Some sought healing for sickness. Others came with no clear reason at all, only the pull of mystery, the call of her dark gaze. They lit candles, leaving soft circles of light in the shadows. They knelt on stone floors worn smooth by countless knees, and in that act of devotion they felt her presence, calm, motherly, vast as night. In the quiet of her chapels, songs rose. Low chants, gentle hymns, voices carried on stone arches. The sound echoed softly, wrapping around all who gathered. It was not music to stir the heart with fire, but music to cradle the soul, like a lullaby that had no end. The Black Madonna was often called a mother of compassion, not only for her child, but for all who stood before her. Her dark face reminded people of the soil from which all life grows. Her eyes seemed to carry the weight of sorrow, yet also the strength to bear it. To many, she was not only the Virgin, but the earth herself, a mother holding all creation in her arms. Her mystery was not meant to be solved. It was meant to be felt. Pilgrims did not always leave with answers. They left with stillness, with the sense that someone, somewhere, had received their pain and given them calm in return. Think of her now. Imagine standing before such a statue in a quiet chapel. The candles flicker, their flames moving gently as though breathing with you. The stone walls are cool, the air carries the faint scent of wax and incense. You lift your eyes, and her gaze meets yours. There is no judgment, no demand, only a deep stillness, like a night sky holding countless stars. Her presence is like fertile soil, dark, rich, full of life unseen. Seeds rest in that soil, waiting, hidden, not yet risen. So too, the Black Madonna reminds pilgrims that healing begins in the dark, in places unseen, in the quiet spaces of the soul. Stories tell of her miracles, of waters flowing clear where her statues were found, of fevers broken, of travelers safe, of hearts lifted. But perhaps the greatest miracle was simply the peace she gave, the way her gaze made heavy burdens lighter, even if only for a breath. Her shrines became places of gathering. Villages grew around them, roads bent to reach them, markets thrived nearby. Yet within her chapels, all was still. People of many kinds stood side by side, their voices hushed, their hearts united in her presence. In her silence, walls between strangers softened. All were children beneath her gaze. Some believed her darkness was the night itself, night that comforts the weary, that covers the earth with rest, that draws forth the stars. In her face they saw not absence of light, but the embrace of it, the deep sky where dreams are born, the hidden womb where life begins. So the Black Madonna stood through centuries, her gaze unchanged, her presence unshaken. Empires rose and fell, roads shifted, tongues changed. Yet still, pilgrims came. They came with candles, with songs, with tears, with quiet. And still she received them, her silence steady as stone, her compassion deep as earth. Let yourself drift closer to her now. Feel the hush of the chapel around you, the slow glow of candles painting golden circles in the dark. the soft weight of air filled with prayer. See her face, dark and timeless, holding both mystery and comfort. She is like the soil beneath roots, like the water beneath still lakes, like the night sky above fields. She is the mother in silence, the presence in shadow, the gaze that never turns away. Rest in her presence. Rest in the mystery that asks nothing of you. Rest in the deep night that soothes, that heals, that holds. Now the candles burn low. Their flames waver, their light gentles. The chapel is quiet. The Madonna's gaze remains, endless and calm. Now rest as the stars return. Now rest as the earth draws you into its quiet embrace. Let us drift onward, through shadow, through silence, through the gaze of the Black Madonna into the soft cradle of night. The night settles gently. The stars lean low like lanterns hung in the quiet sky. A soft wind passes through unseen branches, and in that hush there is the feeling of a story waiting. The world seems to pause, as though listening. This is the hour when the voice of wisdom is closest, when the mind begins to drift and the heart opens like a flower under moonlight. It is here, in this tender silence, that the Ancient One spoke of Sophia. She was not a figure of power or war. She was not made of fire nor thunder. She was softer, quieter, like the sound of flowing water. She was the whisper that comes before knowledge, the still gaze that opens the door to truth. Sophia. The word itself means wisdom. But wisdom in her time was not the heavy burden of learning. It was not the weight of scrolls or the strict voice of law. Wisdom was alive, gentle, and eternal. She was spoken of as a mother, as a light, as the one who walked with God before the stars were born. In the stories of early believers, she was the secret heart of creation. When the heavens spread open like a great canvas, when rivers began to flow, when birds first sang, Sophia was there. Her hands invisible, her breath hidden, yet her presence everywhere. She was like the quiet painter behind the sunrise, the unseen weaver who tied together the threads of sky and earth. Some called her the breath of understanding. Others called her the hidden companion of the soul. To those who prayed in silence, she was the one who answered without words. Her voice was not heard with the ears, but felt in the chest, like a gentle stirring, like a calm tide. The Gnostics told stories of her journey. They said she longed to know, to seek, to love. In that longing she wandered, and the world was shaped through her searching, like a river carving stone. Her movement left paths of light. Where she descended, there were shadows. Where she rose, there was healing. And always she called souls upward, toward their truest home. To them, Sophia was both sorrow and joy. She felt the ache of distance, the yearning of the human heart, yet she was also the comfort that followed, the hand that lifted. Her presence was a circle, like the moon, sometimes hidden, sometimes bright, but always there. Imagine now, a temple built for her, not of marble, not of gold, but of silence. The walls made of stillness, the ceiling made of stars. Candles flicker, their flames bending softly, like children leaning toward a story. In the center, a pool of water rests, so calm it mirrors the sky. There is no statue, no throne, only the sense that wisdom itself breathes here. Pilgrims once whispered her name when they sought guidance. Farmers whispered it when they sowed their seeds, trusting the earth. Mothers whispered it over cradles when children slept. She was not far away. She was within the soil, within the breath, within the tender heart. In old texts, she was called the tree of life. Roots deep, branches wide, bearing fruit for all who hungered. The tree was not only wood and leaf. It was the mystery of growth, the patience of seasons, the promise that nothing is lost. Even in winter's stillness, Sophia was present, waiting, holding the secret of spring. The stars above were said to be her lamps, each one a memory, each one a spark of knowing. When someone closed their eyes in prayer, Sophia's light touched them through the stars, not as answers written in stone, but as quiet understanding, like dawn slowly softening the horizon. She was also known as the dove, not a bird of prey, not a creature of storm, but a gentle wing that moved through the air. Her flight was peace, her song was stillness. When the world raged with noise, she came as a soft shadow, reminding all beings of calm. Those who listened to her did not always speak. Instead, they rested. They let her presence wash through them, like warm rain on weary skin. For Sophia was not a command. She was an invitation, not a rule, but a refuge. And so the early seekers spoke of her as a mother of insight, of vision, of quiet strength. She did not force her children to understand. She simply waited until their hearts were ready, then gently placed the seed of knowing inside them. Sophia was also called the hidden light, not the sun that dazzles, nor the fire that burns, but the glow within a lantern carried in the night. She was the glow that let the traveler find the path. She was the glow that turned fear into rest. If you close your eyes now, you may sense her still, like a soft hand upon the shoulder, like a low song humming at the edge of thought. She is not gone. She is the wisdom that rises each time someone learns kindness, each time forgiveness blooms, each time love is stronger than fear. The stories say that Sophia walks with every soul, sometimes as a shadow beside them, sometimes as a light before them, sometimes as silence within them. She is the quiet companion, unseen, yet always near. And as you listen, as your breath slows, as your body softens into the night, Sophia drifts closer, not as a teacher with strict words, but as the comfort of being known. Her presence tells you that you are already whole, already guided, already loved. In the hush of the stars, she whispers the oldest truth, that wisdom is not far away. It is not locked in towers. It is not hidden in scrolls. It lives within, like a candle waiting to be lit. So rest now under her gaze. Rest in the safety of her unseen arms. The night is long, but it is gentle. The stars are steady, but they are kind. Sophia is with you as she has been since the beginning. Let her voice soft as twilight carry you deeper into rest. Let her wings shelter you as the dream world opens. Now drift as the river of wisdom carries you. Now drift as the stars return one by one. Now drift as Sophia, the hidden wisdom, guides you into peace. The night opens like a vast blue flower. The air is calm, the stars spread wide, and the earth is quiet under their glow. In the distance, a soft drumbeat seems to echo with the rhythm of the heart. It is not loud, not hurried, but steady, like a pulse beneath the skin of the world. This is the hour of stillness. And in this stillness, the story of Shakti unfolds. Not as thunder, not as storm, but as a quiet breath rising, filling all things. She is the living power, the current beneath creation, the pulse that turns silence into song and emptiness into light. In the ancient lands of India, her name was spoken with reverence. Shakti. The word itself means power, energy, life force. Yet she was more than force. She was love moving as power, and power moving as love. Every goddess, Durga with her lion, Kali with her fierce grace, Parvati with her gentle smile, was her. All were faces of one truth, the truth that creation is alive with feminine strength, tender yet unshakable. Imagine the beginning of time, a vast still ocean of possibility, silent, endless, waiting. And then movement, a ripple across the water. That ripple was Shakti, not a figure to be seen, but a stirring, a vibration. The first hum of existence, like the sound before sound, the glow before dawn. She was said to be the partner of Shiva, the eternal stillness. He was the mountain, unmoving. She was the river flowing. He was the sky, wide and empty. She was the wind, dancing through it. Together they were complete, for stillness without movement is silence, and movement without stillness is storm. In their union, the world found balance. Through her, the sun rises. Through her, rivers run. Through her, seeds sprout, and the child in the womb begins to stir. Every flicker of flame, every breath of air, every heartbeat in the chest. These were her songs. Her devotees saw her not as distant, but near. She was not only in temples, but in fields, in kitchens, in villages. She was the laughter of children, the warmth of fire, the courage that awakens in the darkest hour. She was both the shield and the embrace. Durga was one form she took. Durga, the mother warrior. Riding a lion, she held weapons in many hands, not to destroy for cruelty, but to protect life. Her strength was not anger, but compassion that refused to let darkness harm the innocent. When people prayed for courage, they saw Durga's eyes, steady as the horizon, and they felt her power within them. Kali was another form, her face fierce, her dance wild. She was the fire that burned away fear. Her darkness was not despair, but the night sky itself, endless, holding every star. She reminded her children that endings are not to be feared, for in every ending lies a beginning. Her love was fierce, but it was love still. She tore away illusions, so truth could shine. Parvati was yet another form. Gentle, calm, soft as moonlight on water, she was the voice of patience, of kindness, of tender devotion. She reminded the world that love is as strong as battle, that gentleness too is power. Through her, Shakti's face was the face of home, of peace, of care. All these forms, Durga, Kali, Parvati, were waves of one ocean, the ocean of Shakti, the living power. In the villages of India, women sang songs to her at dawn. Their voices rose with the rising sun, blending with the call of birds. At night, lamps were lit, their flames small yet steady, symbolizing her endless energy. Even the simplest act, grinding grain, fetching water, rocking a child to sleep, was seen as a touch of her hand. She was in the ordinary, as much as in the sacred. To see Shakti was to see life itself. The trees swaying in the wind were her dance. The waves striking the shore were her laughter. The quiet fields resting after harvest were her calm. Every change, every cycle, birth, growth, rest, decay, was her rhythm. She was also the energy within each soul, the breath that moves through the body, the spark that keeps the heart alive. Some called her Kundalini, the serpent of energy sleeping at the base of the spine. When awakened, she rose upward, coiling through the body like a flame rising through a lamp. As she moved, she opened hidden doors of the spirit, filling the seeker with light, with joy, with deep peace. Her presence was not only power, but comfort. In moments of fear, she was the strength to endure. In times of loss, she was the warmth that whispered, "All things return." When storms raged, her hand was the still point within the heart, reminding all beings of balance. Stories say that even the gods bowed to her. When they could not overcome the demons of chaos, they called upon Shakti. She came not as one figure, but as many, shining, radiant, unshaken. And with her strength, the balance of the world was restored. Yet her greatest gift was not victory, it was presence. She was not only in great battles, but in the quiet touch of daily life. She was in the mother who sings softly to her child. She was in the farmer who trusts the soil. She was in the healer who lays gentle hands upon the sick. Her power was not separate from love. It was love itself, moving, breathing, creating. And now, as night deepens, Shakti still moves. The stars above shine because of her. The wind brushing the trees stirs because of her. Your very breath rises and falls in her rhythm. She is not far away. She is here. In the softness of the pillow, in the stillness of the room, in the quiet beating of your heart. She is the river flowing in the dark. She is the flame that does not fade. She is the gentle force that carries you, even now, toward rest. So let her presence cradle you. Let her power, endless yet tender, hold you as you drift. No fear can touch you, no shadow can remain, for Shakti is the light that breathes in the dark. Rest now under her gaze. The mother of all energy, the guardian of all life, watches over you. The night is her shawl, the stars her eyes, the earth her lap. In her, there is no ending, only gentle turning, only endless love. Let us drift onward, deeper into her rhythm. Let us rest as the stars return one by one. Now breathe, soft and steady, carried by the living power. Now sleep in the arms of Shakti, the eternal mother, the infinite strength, the endless love. The night is wide and hushed. Above the dark horizon, the stars scatter like golden seeds across the sky. Each one flickers with a gentle rhythm, as if echoing the hidden heart of the earth itself. A quiet wind moves through the silence, carrying with it the scent of stone, of earth, of ancient mountains resting beneath the moon. Far in the distance, the Andes rise like guardians of the sky. Their peaks are crowned with snow, silvered by the glow of night. At their feet, rivers move slowly, winding through valleys where villages once lit fires to honor the unseen. It is here that the story of the daughters of the sun is remembered, a story of light, of devotion, of sacred warmth carried through human hands. In the Inca world, the sun was not only a star in the sky, it was life itself. The golden disk rising each dawn was the face of Inti, the great sun god. He gave warmth to crops, strength to animals, and breath to people. Without him, there was only cold stone, empty fields, and silence. To honor him was to honor life, yet Inti was not alone. Beside him stood those who carried his light with tenderness, his daughters. They were the chosen women, the keepers of his fire, the guardians of his sacred flame. Known as the Akala, or chosen ones, they lived in houses of quiet devotion. There they wove fine cloth, brewed sacred drink, and offered prayers so the warmth of the sun would never fade. Imagine the stillness of those houses, the walls thick with stone, cool against the heat of the day. Inside, the air carried the faint perfume of herbs, of flowers, of burning incense. The young women moved with calm steps, their voices soft, their laughter rare but warm. They were like the rays of the sun turned into human form, gentle, steady, and golden. Each morning, before the first light crept over the mountains, they would rise. Their hands would prepare offerings, their lips would whisper chants. And as the first fire of dawn spread across the peaks, they bowed to Inti, carrying his warmth in their hearts. To the people of the Andes, these daughters were more than women. They were bridges. Through them, the power of the sun entered the world not only as heat, but as care, as guidance, as living prayer. The cloth they wove was called kumbi, rich and fine, threads glistening like rays of light. It was worn only by kings and offered only to gods. Every thread carried intention, a silent prayer woven into its pattern. When they brewed chicha, the sacred drink of corn, it was not for celebration alone. It was a river of devotion, lifted in bowls to the sky, poured gently to the earth, shared in ritual so that heaven and earth might remain in balance. Some stories say that the daughters of the sun never married, for they were wedded to the sacred fire. Others say they became wives to noble leaders, carrying the blessing of Inti into new families, ensuring that warmth and harmony would dwell in every home. In both ways, they were keepers of light, weaving it into the fabric of daily life. Their presence reminded all that the sun was not only above, but within. That light could live in human kindness, in patience, in care. When the crops bent heavy with grain, it was their prayers that had helped call down the sun. When cold winds swept the valleys, it was their chants that helped return warmth. Even now, if you close your eyes, you may sense them. Walking along high stone paths, the sun on their faces, the sound of woven cloth brushing softly as they move. Their voices low, carrying songs older than memory. Their eyes steady, reflecting not only the fire of day, but the gentle glow of the heart. The Inca Empire was vast, its cities grand, its walls strong. But at its heart lay something simple, light. Light that fed the fields, warmed the body, and guided the spirit. And the daughters of the sun were living vessels of this light, making sure it was never lost, never forgotten. As centuries turned, as empires rose and fell, their story lingered. Statues of the Virgin Mary would later be carried into those same valleys, cloaked in blue, crowned in gold. And some whispered that she too was a daughter of the sun, another face of the eternal feminine who holds warmth in her gaze. Old rituals blended with new, but the heart remained. The women who tend light, who guard warmth, who weave devotion into the fabric of the world, never vanish. They change names, change garments, but their essence endures. And so the daughters of the sun remain, not only in stories, not only in ruins of stone, but in the quiet work of hands, in the tender offerings of care. Every time a flame is lit in the dark, they are there. Every time food is placed with love upon a table, they are near. Every time someone prays for warmth, for safety, for light to return, their presence answers. Now the night deepens. The Andes rest under their cloak of stars. The rivers keep flowing. The mountains keep watching. And the old chants drift softly in the wind. The sun has set, but its daughters still walk the dream world, carrying their golden bowls of light. They come to you gently, not with brightness that blinds, but with warmth that soothes. A soft fire, a golden hush wrapping around your spirit like a shawl. They lean close and the air grows warmer, calmer. The kind of warmth that is not only for the skin, but for the soul. So rest now. Let the daughters of the sun place their light upon your heart. Let their woven prayers be like a blanket around you. Let their songs be the hush that carries you deeper into peace. The mountains stand eternal. The rivers keep their rhythm. The stars gleam overhead, keeping watch. And the daughters of the sun remain, forever carrying the fire, forever guarding the warmth. Let us drift onward into their golden silence. Now rest as the stars return to their watch. Now sleep in the embrace of the daughters of the sun. The night opens slowly. A pale moon drifts above, hanging low over quiet seas. The air is cool, filled with the scent of pine and the hush of waves against stone. Far to the north, where winter lingers and daylight fades quickly, silence spreads wide. It is here, in the stillness of the northern lands, that the wise women are remembered. The fire glows faintly within fur-lined tents. Smoke curls upward, thin and slow, as if reluctant to leave the warmth. Inside, a circle of people waits in silence. Their breath clouds the air, their hands rest still on their knees. Eyes turn toward the center, where a woman sits wrapped in heavy cloaks, her staff resting beside her. Her presence fills the space like quiet thunder. She is a seeress, a woman of vision, a bridge between what is and what may be. To the Norse people, she is called Völva, wand-bearer, prophetess, dreamer of threads unseen. Her voice carries chants older than memory. Her staff, carved with runes, hums with the power of ages. In her presence, the hidden patterns of fate become clear. The people believe that fate is woven. Three beings, the Norns, sit beneath the roots of the great world tree. There, by the well of memory, they spin, measure, and cut the threads of every life. Past, present, and future twine together in their hands. And the wise women of the earth, those who sit in tents, those who chant to the drum, can sometimes glimpse the work of the Norns. The seeress begins to sing. Her voice rises low, slow, and steady, like the first rumble of waves against the shore. Her words do not belong to this world alone. They flow from somewhere older, deeper, hidden in the marrow of the earth. The drum beats beside her, steady as a heartbeat. With each beat, the people drift further from the walls of their tent, further from the ground beneath them, closer to the realm where visions live. She tells them of the patterns of harvest, of storms, of battles yet to come. She tells them of journeys, of love, of children still waiting to be born. Her eyes do not look at those before her, but far beyond them, as if seeing threads stretched across the sky. In her voice is the hush of snow, the whisper of wind over mountains, the calm of stars above frozen seas. The people listen with reverence, for in the north life is fragile. The winters are long, the nights are deep, and each life rests on the mercy of unseen forces. The seeress does not command fate, but she can read it. And in her readings the people find comfort, or warning, or hope. She is not feared as one apart, but honored as one who holds the keys to mystery. Her staff is her symbol. Her cloak is her shelter. Her songs are her bridge, and her spirit moves like a bird between worlds, carrying glimpses of tomorrow back to those who wait. Sometimes she speaks of the Norns themselves, of Urdr, who remembers what has been, of Verdandi, who shapes what is becoming, of Skuld, who holds the shadows of what is yet to be. Together, they keep the loom of destiny turning, never resting, never faltering. The seeress, when she closes her eyes, feels their weaving like a faint vibration beneath her skin. She sees how one thread glimmers while another fades. She sees how joy and sorrow meet like rivers, and she sings of these truths in a voice both gentle and strong. Her tent is a small thing, yet when she sings, it feels as vast as the sky. The people gathered within feel their hearts grow still. Some see images in the smoke, riders moving through mist, ships gliding over dark waters, children walking under morning light. Others hear only the drum, steady and deep like the beat of the world itself. But all feel touched by something larger, something woven far beyond their grasp. In the sagas, it is told that even kings sought the counsel of such women. They would offer gifts, rings of gold, necklaces, cattle, yet the greatest gift was silence, listening, respect. For what the seeress shared was not hers alone. It belonged to the loom of fate, and she was but a voice that carried its whisper. The northern nights are long. The stars seem endless, scattered like runes across the dark. The seeress lifts her gaze to them often, for she knows that the same power that shapes the stars also shapes the threads of human lives. Each star, a spark of destiny. Each constellation, a story already written, yet still unfolding. When her chants grow quiet, the people stir gently. They leave the tent as if rising from a dream. The snow crunches softly beneath their feet. They carry her words within them, like embers glowing through the dark. Not every vision is clear, not every thread easy to follow, but the sense of connection remains. They feel bound not only to their own lives, but to the great weaving that stretches across the world. The seeress sits alone by the dying fire. Her staff rests across her knees. The drum is silent. She closes her eyes and breathes. The air is sharp, the cold deep, yet she feels no fear. For she knows that even her life is but a thread. And when her time comes, the Norns will cut it gently, placing it back into the pattern of the whole. Her wisdom is not in controlling fate, but in trusting it. Not in bending the threads, but in seeing their beauty. This is why people come to her. This is why they listen. Her gift is to remind them that each life, no matter how brief, glows with meaning in the tapestry of all. Now the fire fades to embers. The smoke thins. The stars hold their quiet vigil over the frozen fields. The people sleep within their homes, wrapped in furs, their dreams softened by the memory of the seeress's song. And somewhere, beyond the veil of night, the Norns keep weaving, their hands steady, their threads shining, their work unending. The wise women of the north remain in memory, in stories, in whispers passed from fire to fire. Though their tents are long gone, their presence lingers in the hush of the wind, in the patterns of the stars, in the dream of every soul who longs to glimpse the thread of tomorrow. Now rest as their voices fade into silence. Now drift as the loom of fate hums softly in the distance. The snow falls light, the fire dims low, the stars glow above in quiet rhythm. Let the chant of the seeress guide you gently. Let the threads of night carry you deeper into calm. Let us drift onward. Now sleep as the stars return. Night settles over the valleys of the old world. The horizon glows with the last breath of the sun, a faint amber fading into violet, then into deep blue. The air is thick with the scent of earth, damp and strong, like soil after gentle rain. Crickets hum softly, and in the distance a single drum beats, slow and steady, like the echo of a heartbeat. This is the land of the Mexica, the people who looked up at the stars and saw gods walking among them. Beneath those stars, they whispered the name of Tlaltecutli. She was the earth itself. Her body was mountains, her skin the rich soil, her veins the rivers that flowed to the sea. Fierce, yet eternal, she carried both birth and death within her. Every seed that grew, every flower that opened, every harvest gathered, was her gift. And every stone beneath the foot, every canyon and cliff, every cave that led into silence, was also her being. They spoke of her as both goddess and god, for she could not be contained by one form. She was vast. She was the foundation of life and the end of it. When the rains did not come, when the soil cracked and thirst filled the land, the people said that Tlaltecutli was weeping. Her tears fell as rain, soaking into the earth, giving drink to roots and fields. Her sorrow, they believed, was their salvation. In the ancient stories, the sky gods once tore Tlaltecutli apart, shaping her body into the world itself. Her hair became forests, her eyes the springs, her mouth the rivers, her spine the mountains. Though her body was broken, her spirit endured, and she remained, lying in every grain of soil, in every stone, in every place where life touched earth. When the people planted corn, they prayed to her. They pressed seeds into the soil with reverence, whispering for her blessing. When the stalks rose tall and green, they gave thanks, for it was her body feeding theirs. Every tortilla, every ear of maize roasted in the fire, was part of her endless offering. At night, under the moon, the people told how she cried for the blood of life, not in cruelty but in hunger, the hunger of the earth itself, the same hunger that draws a seed to break open, a root to reach down, a flower to open wide, the hunger of soil for rain, of fields for harvest, of life feeding life. The people answered her with offerings, with prayers, with songs, for they knew that balance was the way of all things. Nothing came without giving, and nothing endured without returning. When rain clouds gathered on the horizon, it was as though her sigh had reached the heavens. The winds grew heavy, the first drops fell, and soon rivers of water poured down, filling streams and lakes. Children laughed and ran barefoot through the puddles. Farmers lifted their faces to the sky. The land drank deeply. The goddess wept, and the world lived again, but there was another side to her tears. When storms came fierce and rivers overflowed, it was also her voice, a reminder that life is not always gentle, that growth comes with trial. Even then, the people did not fear her, for they saw her strength in the cycles of season and soil. She was both giver and taker, both cradle and grave, and in this she was eternal. Stone carvings still carry her image, mouth wide, teeth sharp, hair flowing into streams and vines. She looks both fearsome and maternal, a being too great for easy measure. Yet those who gazed upon her form felt not only awe, but comfort. For in her, they saw the truth that every life rests on earth, and every death returns to it. Imagine the valley at dawn. Mist rises from the fields, soft and silver. The people step quietly among rows of maize, the dew sparkling at their feet. They pause, pressing their palms to the soil, whispering thanks to Tlaltecutli. The earth is not silent. It breathes beneath them, alive with roots, insects, water, and stone. Each harvest is her gift. Each step upon the ground is her embrace. The priests, too, would sing of her beneath the stars. They said her tears were not only rain, but also the hidden rivers beneath the earth, flowing unseen. Every spring that bubbled up in the desert, every well that quenched thirst, was part of her endless body. Even the mountains that towered above, they said, were her bones, strong and enduring. To walk through the land was to walk across her skin, to breathe her breath, to live upon her form. Children were taught to respect the ground, never to waste what was taken from it. They learned that each fruit, each kernel of maize, each cactus flower was sacred. And they learned that when the body dies, it is not lost, but returned to Tlaltecutli, to be woven again into her endless cycle. She was not only the end, but the beginning again. Even today, her story lingers in the rhythm of rain against rooftops, in the scent of wet soil, in the patient growth of seeds. Her tears still fall, her body still feeds, her spirit still holds the stones and rivers in quiet strength. She is both sorrow and blessing, both pain and renewal, and always she endures. Now the night deepens. The crickets hum like soft strings of a harp. The air cools, carrying the faint smell of wet earth. In the stillness, imagine lying upon the soil itself, feeling its strength, its patience, its steady heartbeat. You are safe upon it. You are cradled in it. It holds you without demand, without judgment. You belong to it, as every tree, every bird, every river belongs. The tears of Tlaltecutli fall gently now, like mist across the fields of your mind. They soften the ground, they calm the air, they ease the weight of the day. Her voice is not loud, but quiet and steady, like the earth's own lullaby. Every drop carries rest. Every breath of soil carries peace. Let the memory of her story stay with you, not as something fierce, but as something tender. The earth itself, alive and breathing beneath you. The mother and the stone, the rain and the harvest, the silence and the song. Now let her tears soothe you. Now let her earth cradle you. The night stretches wide, the stars hum above, and the soil holds its gentle weight. Let us drift onward. Now rest as the stars return. The night is still. The stars hang low and quiet, shimmering like drops of dew caught upon the threads of heaven. A thin crescent moon leans above the horizon, pale and tender, casting its silver path across the darkened earth. In the hush of this hour, you drift toward the memory of candlelit shrines, where the air carries the faint scent of wax and roses. It is here in the soft silence that her presence is felt. Mary, the gentle bridge, she is remembered in many lands, in many tongues. Always her image is tender, always her face is calm. Some see her clothed in blue, the color of sky before dawn. Some see her crowned with stars, her hands open in welcome. But however she appears, her essence is the same. Gentle, compassionate, patient as the earth itself. Mary was called the Mother of Christ, yet in truth she became the mother of countless hearts, not through power or demand, but through the softness of her care. When people could not speak directly to the heavens, they turned to her, for she was near. She was the bridge between the human and the divine, the tender doorway through which prayers could pass like whispers carried by the wind. Imagine the small chapels in distant hills, stone walls rough, yet warm in the candlelight. Windows narrow, letting in only faint streams of moon. Inside, a figure of Mary waits. Sometimes carved of wood, sometimes painted on plaster, sometimes made of bright mosaic. Around her feet, candles flicker. Their flames dance like stars, answering the ones above. And in that dim glow, the faithful bend their heads, murmuring secrets of the heart into her care. Her statues stand in busy cities and in quiet valleys. They rise in grand cathedrals and humble roadside niches. She is always there, watchful, listening, still. The poor approach her with the same trust as kings. The weary find rest in her gaze. The broken, the hopeful, the lost, all feel her presence as a soft cloak drawn around their shoulders. Mary became more than a single figure in time. She became a symbol of mercy itself. Her hands are the hands that catch tears before they fall. Her eyes are the eyes that see suffering and turn it into prayer. Her voice, though never heard aloud, is felt as comfort deep within. For centuries, pilgrims have walked to her shrines, through mountain passes, across dry plains, along forest paths. Some carry flowers, others carry only the weight of their longing. But all arrive with the same quiet hope, that she will hear them, that she will carry their words across the unseen bridge to God. In the great cathedral of Chartres, a window of glass glows with her story. Blue light spills upon the stone floor like water pooling at one's feet. The faithful stand in awe, as if they too are stepping into the sky. In Guadalupe, in Mexico, her image is said to have appeared upon a simple cloak, surrounded by golden rays like the rising sun. Millions have come to see her there, to whisper their prayers into her shadow. And in countless hidden chapels, in villages small and far, her statues wear crowns of fresh flowers, given by hands that know her as a mother. To pray to Mary is not to shout into the heavens. It is to whisper into the hush of night. It is to sit in the candle glow, feeling her presence like a gentle river running beneath your soul. Her bridge is not made of stone or wood. It is made of compassion, patient, and eternal. Through her, distance feels smaller, and the divine feels near enough to touch. Many call her Queen of Heaven, yet her power is not like that of kings. It is not sharp, not fierce, not demanding. Her power is gentleness itself. The strength that comforts, the patience that heals, the tenderness that endures. She is the quiet that holds a child's cry. She is the lullaby sung to the world when it grows weary. The people brought their joys to her as well as their sorrows. They thanked her for the harvest, for the safe return of sailors, for the laughter of children, for she was not only a figure of grief, but of joy. In her presence, the small things of life, bread, water, light, felt touched with blessing. She was the bridge that carried human life in all its ordinariness into the glow of the divine. Her shrines even now echo with footsteps of pilgrims. Candles are lit, prayers are murmured, songs are sung in quiet reverence. The flame of devotion has never faded, for Mary remains near to those who call her. The centuries pass, yet the tenderness of her image is always new. For compassion, once born, never grows old. In the soft imagination of night, you may see her standing at the edge of a quiet field. The sky stretches wide above, filled with stars. She holds her hands open, palms upward, as if catching the light that falls from the heavens. The air around her is calm. The grass bends lightly in the wind, as if bowing in her presence. And you feel, even from afar, the calm of her gaze, like water stilling a restless heart. Every bridge spans a distance. Every bridge offers a way forward. Mary's bridge is built of listening, of love, of unbroken patience. It spans the distance between earth and heaven, between sorrow and peace, between longing and fulfillment. She does not carry only words. She carries souls, lifting them gently across the threshold of silence. In many paintings, she is shown with the child Jesus in her arms. Yet even there, the focus is not only on the child, but on her embrace. She is the one who holds, who steadies, who guards. And so she has become this, for all who come to her, a mother to the motherless, a comfort to the lonely, a light to those walking in shadow. Now, in this still hour, imagine the glow of her candles once more, each flame a whisper, each flicker a prayer. Together they shine like 1,000 small stars, each one offered by a soul seeking rest. The air is warm, the shadow soft. Her presence lingers in that light, like a fragrance that soothes the weary. And as you breathe, you may feel her bridge beneath you, not of stone, not of wood, but of comfort itself. It carries you gently over the waters of worry, over the valleys of fear, over the long road of longing. It leads you not into distance, but into nearness, into the heart of peace. Let the story of Mary rest with you tonight. Let her gentleness wrap around you like a cloak of quiet blue. Let her bridge carry you across the last threshold of waking into the calm river of sleep. The candles still burn. The night grows deeper. Her hands remain open, her gaze steady, her presence near. Let us drift onward. Now rest as the stars return. The night has deepened. The stars, like watchful eyes, shine steadily in the sky. A quiet breeze drifts through the branches of unseen trees, carrying the cool fragrance of earth after rain. In this calm silence, the soul leans inward, as if resting upon the breath of the universe. The world slows, and a soft memory begins to rise, of the sacred feminine, shimmering like an eternal light present in every age, in every land. From the dawn of time, people looked to the heavens and the earth for comfort, for meaning, for guidance. They found it often in forms of light, of water, of gentle power. And again, across deserts, mountains, forests, and seas, the divine appeared as woman, nurturing, guarding, sheltering. Each culture gave her a different name, a different face, but her essence was one. Like many rivers flowing into one sea, all carried the eternal feminine light. In the ancient valleys of Mesopotamia, people spoke of Inanna. She was the morning star, the queen of heaven, who descended into shadow and rose again. Her courage taught that even in darkness, renewal could be found. Her story was whispered under starlit skies, a reminder that no night lasts forever. Farther west, in the lands of Egypt, Isis was remembered. She was the mother, the healer, the gatherer of broken pieces. She pieced together what was lost, and by her care, life was restored. To stand before her image was to feel a soft tide of protection, as if the Nile itself had wrapped you in its flowing arms. In Greece they sang of Demeter, whose sorrow and love governed the seasons. Her tears became the rains that nourished the soil. Her joy returned in the blossoms of spring. She taught that life moves in cycles, loss and return, departure and reunion, yet always the earth endures. Far across the oceans, in the temples of India shone the many forms of Devi, Durga, fierce and strong, riding upon her lion, Lakshmi, bright as lotus petals, bringing abundance and peace, Saraswati, white-robed by the river, her voice a song of wisdom, each one a stream of the eternal feminine, flowing into the same sea of compassion. The Celts of northern forests spoke of Brigid, a goddess of flame and well. She was warmth against winter's cold and water in times of thirst. Her flame was tended in quiet sanctuaries, never allowed to go out. It was said that those who kept her fire alive carried her blessing in their homes and hearts. Among the peoples of the Americas, the sacred feminine was also honored. The Maya spoke of Ixchel, goddess of the moon, the waters and childbirth. Her silver light guided mothers and guarded healers. The Aztec earth goddess Tlaltecutli gave herself as the ground beneath every step, her tears becoming the rain. And later, in Mexico, the Virgin of Guadalupe appeared, merging the old and the new, her presence woven of both sky and soil, always near, always listening. In the far north, under skies painted by the northern lights, the Sami people spoke of Madaraka, the mother spirit. She sent her daughters to guide birth, protect children, and bless families with well-being. Even in the frozen silence, her warmth could be felt, like the steady flame of a hearth. From desert sands to forest groves, from mountain shrines to riversides, the eternal feminine was honored in countless forms. She was the mother, the maiden, the wise elder. She was the warrior, the healer, the protector of harvests. Always she was the one who held life in her hands with tenderness and strength. This light was not bound to a single time or place. It moved like a stream, flowing through cultures, carrying its essence forward. Even when one name faded, another rose. Even when one story ended, another began. The feminine divine was never absent. She was always waiting, always near, as steady as the moon's return. Her light shines in symbols still remembered. The crescent moon cradled in the sky, the star that lingers before dawn, the flame that never dies in its lamp, the river that carries both memory and renewal. Each is a sign of her presence, gentle and enduring. To feel this eternal light is to feel comfort. It is the hand that steadies when the path feels uncertain. It is the voice that calms when sorrow weighs upon the heart. It is the quiet reminder that even in times of darkness, tenderness remains. Close your eyes and imagine the many rivers flowing toward the sea. Some are wide and strong, others narrow and hidden, but all are moving in the same direction. They carry stories, prayers, and symbols from every land. When they reach the sea, they merge, and their waters become one. So too has the sacred feminine flowed across time, across worlds, always returning to the great ocean of compassion. You may see her now, in your mind's eye. She stands not as one figure, but as many. Her face is both young and old, her robe both blue and gold, her hands both strong and tender. She shifts like the moon, always the same, yet always changing. She is mother and sister, goddess and saint, healer and guide, and through her shines the eternal feminine light. This light is not fierce, not blinding. It glows gently like a lamp in the night. It soothes rather than overwhelms. It guides rather than commands. It is the kind of light that allows the heart to rest, to breathe, to trust. As you drift deeper into stillness, imagine that light above you. It falls softly, like moonlight through a window. It wraps around you like a cloak, woven of stars. It gathers all worries, all longings, and carries them away on a quiet tide. You are left with calm. You are left with peace. The eternal feminine light continues, even now, within you. It beats quietly with each breath, like a flame hidden yet steady. It whispers through dreams, reminding you of the river, the stars, the motherly hands that guard all life. It tells you that you are safe, that you are held, that the bridge of compassion is always near. So let us rest now with the memory of her light. Let the rivers carry us to the sea. Let the moon cradle us in its soft curve. Let the stars return one by one to the silent sky. The eternal feminine light remains, gentle, endless, bright as the first dawn. And in its glow the soul may drift into sleep, untroubled, at peace. Let us drift onward, now rest as the stars return,